There are many things that narcissists do. There are many hooks that they throw at you to really make you feel a strong connection towards them, to really develop a strong bond towards them. At the beginning, it's things like the love bombing, all the intense attention, adoration, telling you what you want to hear, that intense mirroring and relatability. So you completely level and relate to them. And then, the future faking, these confessions of love, etc. So at the beginning, these things work. But over time, when they're not really in that euphoric mode anymore, you start experiencing more of the devaluation. Then what is it that keeps you still bonded towards them? So people talk a lot about the trauma bond. People talk a lot about these dependencies, the fact that they push you away from other people. I wanted to just touch on a few on a couple of things that I haven't really discussed before in a way which I'm going to discuss it today. And one of those things is narcissists have this obsessive nature. And what I mean by that is they see you as their belonging and they treat you as such. So while they might treat you like trash, they might devalue you while you're with them at home doing your business. If somebody else starts enjoying your company, paying you a lot of attention, they can get extremely jealous and they can orchestrate certain things to push that person away from you or to pull you away from the other person. And sometimes they might smear the other person, make things up. They get really creative. But you sense that. Over time, if you're with a narcissist, you sense that they have this strong, possessive stance towards you. That whenever you do something that means you're enjoying your time with someone else, or you might embark on a new endeavor that could take you to nice, interesting places in your life, the narcissist gets really jealous, and all of a sudden they become very possessive of you, very obsessive in a sense. They want to make sure that no one else gets too much of your time, not even activities. It's not just people, it's activities, plans. And a lot of people confuse that intense need to keep you under wraps as love. That possessiveness, that obsessiveness, people confuse that as love. So while the narcissist might be abusive, they might punish you for no good reason, they might devalue you, they might make you feel really small and worthless. While they might be playing that most of the time, the fact that on occasion they show such a strong interest in you through this possessiveness nature, you 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 might find yourself thinking, well, no one else ever had that intensity over me. That must mean that this person loves me because no one else, healthy people don't do that. If you're going to compare the narcissist to healthy people, maybe the healthy people wouldn't devalue you, nor would they give you that kind of, nor would they have that possessive, obsessive stance towards you. It's kind of like in the middle. And a lot of people, depending on their upbringing, depending on the type of treatment they had from their caregivers, they'll associate that devaluation with, intermittent reinforcement and this occasional just possessiveness over you as if you're a belonging that they want to store in the closet and then they want to take you out when it suits them. A lot of people feel that is something akin to love. It's this deep feeling, even though it's very toxic. So a lot of people just they struggle to discern something that's toxic of that nature as opposed to something that's healthy because a lot of people who are in healthy relationships, if they've had abusive upbringings through their caregivers, they might not think much of it. And the other thing is, if you're with a narcissist and they're constantly making you feel small, constantly making you feel like trash, occasionally they will very tactfully let themselves be vulnerable to you. But they're not being vulnerable to you because they're opening up. They want to share their vulnerability. No, they're weaponizing their vulnerability. Maybe when the narcissist was between 4 and 8 years old, they lived sustained abuse, and that's a very dark place of their past, which still lives in them today. And what they'll do is they'll let the part of them that experienced those things between the ages of 4 and 8 and how they felt during that time. The feeling of what they went through. They let that surface. Narcissists weaponize their own vulnerability, and they weaponize bringing to the surface their own broken child at very opportune moments where you might either be fed up with them, you've had enough, you want to walk away, or maybe you want to meet somebody and do something else, and the narcissist wants to make you change your mind, have a change of heart, and shift your focus and attention and time towards them. And it tends to work because if you're a humane person with empathy, you care about people, you're compassionate, and this is your partner, you want the best for them, you find yourself falling prey to that because you all of a sudden, you want to help, you want to nurture. So those are the two things that can really wreak havoc on the mind of people who are suffering narcissistic abuse, because narcissists can abuse you 90% of the time. But the fact that occasionally they have such this kind of possessive interest over you, and also on occasion they'll demonstrate their extreme vulnerabilities, and you can see the broken person who they really are, and you feel sorry for them. That touches you at an emotional level. It touches your soul in a certain way where most people cannot touch. And because you're being moved by it, because you're being so moved, you associate that with this deep soul connection. And narcissists know how to move people like that. It doesn't necessarily work for everybody, but for people who have experienced certain traumatic events in their own life, where you tend to ignore red flags, and you want to help people, narcissists are very good at manipulating and moving those people in a way that benefits them. And narcissists know how to do it in a way where the people tend to stick around. They're constantly taking your temperature to know when they have to play the vulnerability card, when they're entitled to devaluing you, and when they should stop. They know you inside out. You're their puppet. So if you don't want to find yourself being stuck in a narcissistic relationship, of course, there's many things that keep you stuck. They isolate from other people. They create financial dependencies, emotional dependencies, and they also make you, like I said, they make you feel like you two share a unique, special connection, and they love you in a way that nobody else would, because they can move your feelings, move your emotions, touch your soul in a way nobody else can. But once you realize that what that is nothing but it's just a toxic game. It's the way they get their needs met. It's the way they control people. Once you realize that those moves on their part is nothing other than a good move to control you, and that they do it because it works. Until you realize that, you're going to find yourself being stuck. And when it comes to love, and you think, oh, nobody else can make you feel the way they did, they must love you. They can make you feel that way. They must love you if they open up. If you find yourself so attached to them because of these feelings they demonstrate towards you, well, love's not supposed to hurt so bad. And people who love you are not supposed to hurt you and move you in ways where you feel like you're losing control of yourself. Thanks for watching.